Hi, this is Eric Smith. Time to do another quick look video, and I thought I would do it from 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 7 through 9, and the Word of God reads this way. So the women sang as they danced, and said, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. Then Saul was very angry, and the saying displeased him, and he said, They have ascribed to David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed only thousands. Now what more can he have but the kingdom? So Saul eyed David from that day forward. In 1 Samuel chapter 18, we have an account of King Saul and David coming back from the battle with the Philistines. And in verse 6, it says, Now it had happened as they were coming home when David was returning from the slaughter of the Philistine that the women had come out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tambourines, with joy, and with musical instruments. So we see in this verse that Saul and David had returned. Women came out and were singing and dancing. They were celebrating their victory. And then in verse 7 you have, So the women sang as they danced and said, Saul has slain his thousands and David his 10,000s. So in the midst of the celebration, the women were singing praise about what had happened, but they were ascribing 10,000 to David and 1,000 to Saul. I should say 10,000s and thousands to Saul. So verse 8 says, Then Saul was very angry. He was very angry when he heard this. And the saying displeased him. And he tells you why in this verse. And he said, and this is Saul, They have ascribed to David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed only thousands. So Saul is upset that they're exalting David in the battle over him. He was a king, and he was envious and jealous of David because they were ascribing victory to David because he had slaughtered more people, and they only ascribed thousands to Saul. So this just moved him to jealousy. It moved him to rage. That's why at the end of verse 8 it says, Now what more can he, and he's talking about King David, have but the kingdom? So why is Saul saying this? Because Saul knew that Samuel, the last judge of Israel and a prophet, told him back in chapter 15, verse 28, because Saul was a king that wasn't doing the right thing, he says the kingdom has been taken from you and it's going to be given to your neighbor. And the neighbor it's given to is actually David. So Saul knew down deep that his successor was David, who would be king. He would no longer be king. David's going to be king, and he was jealous because he could see they were already ascribing victory to David and exalting him above Saul. And that's why verse 9 says, So Saul eyed David from that day forward. And when it says he eyed David, that means he viewed David with suspicion, that he was angry with him, that he was upset, that he was even hateful. And if you go further after these verses, King Saul started attempting to kill David numerous times. He was in such a rage that he wanted to kill David, and he just pursued David over and over again. But he was never victorious. In fact, in the end, Saul ended up dying and King David ended up taking his place. Saul could not stop that. And that was in the providence and the sovereignty of God. But his jealousy drove Saul to try to kill King David, even though he wasn't king yet. Dear Christian, what we can learn from this is jealousy, envy, anger, it can all build up where you start doing something that's wicked and sinful because you're having wicked and sinful thoughts. Saul was a king. God had made him king. He wasn't going to be the right king, but God told Samuel to give the nation of Israel what they were looking for, and God gave them Saul. But now Saul had completely messed up being a king. He didn't do everything correctly. And now he could see that King David would be his successor. And he was moved to jealousy. We want to be careful about letting jealousy and envy move us to do something ungodly, because that's what King Saul did. And at the end of everything, it ended up costing him his very life. So this is 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 7 through 9. And I just wanted to do a quick look to remind you, Christian, that you don't want to be jealous of others. You don't want to be envious of others. What it will do is it will drive you to do something. It may not be to the point where you're chasing someone for years trying to kill him like King Saul tried to do to David. But you know what? It's going to drive you to do something that's destructive, and it's going to bring you to a bitter end. And you don't want that to happen. As always, if the videos on this channel have encouraged your Christian walk and edified you in any way whatsoever, but you have not subscribed to my channel yet and you want to, hit the button. If you want to leave any comments, please do so, but please don't be snarky. Please do not be profane. We want to be Christ-like in everything we say and do as Christians. And until we do another quick look, remember something. There's a reason that the Bible speaks against jealousy and bitterness and anger and envy. These things are wicked ways of thinking, and all it will do is move you to do something towards someone else that doesn't deserve it. David did not deserve what King Saul tried to do to him. David was serving God and he was serving King Saul. In fact, later on you'll see that King David had 2 opportunities to actually kill Saul before he became king, but you know what? He didn't. He didn't do that. He was a man of God, but King Saul actually wasn't. And because of that, he lost his kingdom and he lost his life. We need to be careful about letting envy, jealousy, and bitterness get us to drive us to do something that can lead us to destruction. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and God bless.